Our last section this week is on leaders and leadership. And when I say leadership, I don't just mean formal authority, I mean leadership in the terms of leading in your wherever you are and whoever you are. So in class, and you might like to do this if you're an online student, free write for 5 minutes about the worst leader or leadership experience you ever had. Free writing is when you just let your brain go to sleep and let your pen do it. Don't worry about spelling, structure, where you're going with it, what your point is, any of that. Just keep on writing. And if you get stuck for a second, just write, I can't think of what to write. And then just let your brain, your subconscious brain, come forward and write about it. You might want to do it for 10 minutes. And then just reflect on that, about what does that say about the leaders that we have in the world today, and what makes a great leader and what makes a terrible leader. And how do people feel when they're being led by terrible people? Okay, Elon Musk is remaking the world like Henry Ford did in the early 1900s, but more dangerously. So this is a book review about a book called Muskism, shedding light on Elon Musk's mission to remake the world while the rest of us haven't even been consulted. And the discussion point here is no society should ever allow a small number of individuals to possess the power he currently possesses. So that's either discuss or think about whether you agree or disagree. And if you agree or disagree, how would you support your position? How would you argue it, and what evidence would you use to support it? What about these people? What do you notice? These are the richest people. 6 months ago, anyway. There's Musk, there's Larry Page, there's Bezos, there's Sergey Brin, there's Larry Ellison, Mark Zuckerberg, etc., etc. What do you notice about all of them besides that they're all men? They own what? Media, 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 and tech. How much of our world is controlled by these men? I feel a little ashamed here that I have not quoted who made this quote. The problem isn't a lack of food, money, water, or land. The problem is that we've given control of these things to a group of greedy psychopaths who care more about maintaining their own power than helping humankind. So, Pauline Hanson might be Australia's next Prime Minister. How do you feel about that? She has stoked fears about immigration, and I know our student numbers this semester are very low because no visas are being granted, because there's pressure on the government not to have too much immigration. It's a political issue. She's long been known as a racist. How would you feel about her being our next Prime Minister? She's been in politics for 30 years. I don't really understand what's behind her rise right now, apart from the fact that she is using Trump's playbook and the Brexit playbook, and she's also got Gina Rinehart on side with the money. Gina Rinehart being, of course, the richest Australian. Here is another cartoon which says that all the meme farms are churning out pro Pauline Hardwright AI meme slop on Facebook, and this is all the same stuff that's been said about other people in the past, but it's nothing to. It's how these people make their living, but it's going to affect how Australia in the future. And it's a little bit like all the Russian people sitting in the front of their computers interfering in the US election. This is basically what we've got going on here as well. This is a comedy piece ripping off Pauline Hanson at her press club. You can watch it or not watch it. Now, here is she's big on disinformation. She's all the people who in her Senate, like Malcolm Roberts. It's got to be one of the dumbest people you've ever met in your life. It's a post-fact world. This suits Hanson. And I've included this here because this week I asked you to write an opinion piece for a newspaper for your journal. And Amy Remakis is brilliant. She's a brilliant opinion piece writer. So read her article and then you'll see that you can really kind of go to town and be a little bit creative in an opinion piece, and you can have an opinion. The people who are the leaders in this world, it really does matter. And I saw this article and I thought, wow, this kind of shows how it really does matter. It's called The Letters of Last Resort, and it's about what happens when a new prime minister is elected in the UK. What they have to do is they have to sit down on their first day and they have to write letters to the 4 nuclear submarine captains in the US Navy. And they have to tell them what to do if there's a nuclear attack and the government of the UK is wiped out. Have to tell them whether to escalate, like to retaliate, whether to hold off, whether to follow the US, or whether to use their own judgment. And these handwritten letters have never been opened. They're destroyed after the Prime Minister leaves office. So not one has ever been opened, but they sit there on the submarine with the submarine captain, ready to tell him what to do. So what a leader in this world does is very consequential, and their judgment, I would hope it would be wise. What would you write in the letters of last resort if you were the Prime Minister of the UK? Now I invite you to think about some leaders that you admire. Here's my list. Ruth Bader Ginsburg under my picture. Jacinda Ardern, Martin Luther King, Greta Thunberg, Malala, John Lennon, Bob Brown, who founded the Greens Party, Angela Merkel from Germany, who steered the Germans through COVID and the world through the first Trump administration. But to be a leader doesn't mean you need formal authority. These young girls certainly don't have that. But and neither did John Lennon. But yeah, some leaders do have formal authority. It's not the same thing. And here are the answers. If you tried to do the quiz at the beginning, I'll skip over that quite quickly. That's my last slide.